I failed my pre-reg pharmacy exam 2 times and just have 1 attempt left. Hi guys, hello. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Gphc Exam. I'm here to talk about how I failed my exams twice, so my pre-reg exams, pharmacy registration exams twice. I'll be looking at my phone from time to time so that I don't get carried away by my story. And yeah, I hope it encourages somebody, and if this is not for you, it's definitely for someone else. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, share with somebody that might need it. So I started 2015, finished 2016, graduated 2015 actually. So I did my pre-reg. It was okay, and I lost interest, to be honest, around my pre-reg. Yeah, I felt it was a bit disjointed and trying to study, work and everything, and because it was the first time we were sitting this sort of format for the exams, I didn't really feel in sync, in quote. So I was due to sit the June 2016 exams, which I didn't because I had to travel for my sister's wedding quite a bit, and I was trying to help out with the preparation and whatnot. And so I had little or no time left to study because I had taken most of my time off for holiday, to travel. And so I had like 9 days. I felt it wasn't okay, but I think there are a few people that actually studied for 9 days. Me personally, I don't think I maximized my working days. So I was concentrating on working. I couldn't study during the days of work. It was just hectic for me. I just felt everything was not together. And so I withdrew from June 2016 sitting. You know the good news of that sitting, about 95% pass rate. So I start September, and you heard the bad news about that sitting is about 40% pass rate. So, well, I'll discuss about that later. So during the exams, I already knew how it went. While writing the first paper, calculations, I was like, okay, I didn't finish. I already knew that, oh my god, it would take a miracle for me to pass. But people were like, don't worry, but I knew. I studied okay, I thought I studied okay, but maybe the method I used was different, and plus the fact that I had heard of the June 2016 95% pass rate. I was like, okay, definitely our pass rate would be somewhat similar or so, but it wasn't. So after the exams, on the result day, I decided to buy a camera to start my YouTube channel, which I did. And so I decided to sit June 2017, that's the next year. So if you sit September 26, no, any September sitting, the next time you have to sit, the next is the following year of the June. So you have quite a gap to prepare and whatnot. But during that time, I decided to travel. I worked a bit, traveled to United States in February, and traveled again to Nigeria. Did my conversion course for a few weeks, attended my brother's wedding. I know most of my family, they were getting married within that time, and that happened. Then I travelled back to the UK to write my exams again. I concentrated on the one I failed, that's the calculations paper, and so the one I thought I had in the bag, I failed. Obviously my thought was wrong. The one in the bag had jumped out and I did not know, and so I failed that one. And to pass your pre-reg exam, so I'm sure some of you know, but for those that might be watching and may not know, and so I failed the other one, and so I had to sit it again. So that's the second attempt. So I had one more attempt left. But after this attempt, I was like, okay, that's it. It's over. I'm not going to stress myself again. I'd had enough of everything. door closed next. I was like, good. I had other opportunities, I had other options that I was okay-ish with. So I started concentrating on my spoken words, my writing, other parts of pharmacy, traveling, and just moving with the wave per se. And so while that was happening, I did charity work, worked with the military, travelled, fundraising, charity, and lots of exciting things. I got books to perform. I sold lots of books. I wrote and published 3 books. So yeah, and then the door opened again. My dad told me that the chance and another opportunity for me to take the exam had come up. I was like, God, really? I was really okay with everything going on, or so I thought. So I started thinking. I cried a lot and prayed, asked God that, okay, if I should write this exam and you're not going to help me to success, I don't want it, because I wasn't ready to go through everything I went through for the second attempt, because I actually thought I passed my second attempt. So when I finished, I was like, okay, that went okay, only to receive the results the morning and I saw that I failed, and I broke down into tears and frustration to my mum and my dad on the phone. It wasn't an easy journey for me, to be honest. I'm so glad I can smile now. I'm really grateful to God for that. And so, okay, back to the third attempt. So after much brainstorming with my family, my friends, and with few people here and there, back and forth, trying to encourage myself, trying to remind myself of how God has brought me thus far, and how in that year gap I gave myself, I've achieved a whole lot. And I was like, okay, God, I think I'll go for it. So I speak to my dad. I was like, yes, I'm going for it. Then he speaks to the people he needs to speak to and whatnot, and I start studying. I don't actually study as much as I can because I was still doubting. And I was like, okay, is this really happening? It's not happening. Am I really going back? Am I da 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 da? So I'm studying, but I'm not really studying. I'm just making little notes and whatnot. And so as the days go by, the exams are drawing near. I was like, oh my God, it's actually happening. So in June, I joined a group, Babir's group, and I think, yeah, Babir's group. And I start preparing like I was writing the June exams, but I knew I was writing September. Actually, initially, I was trying to write June exams because I was still going with the mindset that the June exam is going to be easier. But obviously, from when the result came out, the general pass rate, it wasn't like that. And I heard that it was actually not the usual belief that had happened in the exam. So I was like, okay, fair enough. And I was going to write the June because I was just tired, just wanted to get it over and done with and move on with my life. But I'm glad that didn't work out. I'm really grateful that that didn't happen, because man, I would have cried my life out. It's like, I don't think I would have passed that one because I wasn't ready. I hadn't invested myself in how I was meant to prepare, because the plan for the exam was for me to study like I didn't know pharmacy, and that's what I did for September exam. I started from the very scratch, like, okay, basics, let's get this done with. So that's how I studied, with prayer, with seeking God, with like, okay, because my mental strength had reduced so much. I needed help, and the only place I could find that help was in the Word of God. I'm Christian, and so I spent that time praying and also working hard and studying so much, as much as I could as well. And wrote the exam September 26th, which was actually my mom's birthday as well, and my auntie's birthday. Wrote the exams that day. The day before the exam, I was a mess. I was crying. My sister-in-law called me and she was surprised. She was like, are you actually crying, Andy? Are you joking, or are you crying? Because obviously she was like, then she could see that I was actually seriously crying. I wasn't joking. Sometimes I joke a lot, but I wasn't joking. So I closed my eyes, because the thing what had happened was the calculations I could solve before, I couldn't solve again. So I was like panicking and like, oh my God, what's happening and whatnot. And I woke up, did a few questions, I think it was pro-families, did a few questions, and I was fine. And those questions I did the day before, a few of them actually came out in the main exams. So I was like, okay God, I see you. I was very excited, very excited. So the day of the exams, the first paper, the calculations paper of September 2019 paper. I'm writing the exam, the first question I'm like, it's straightforward. Because I'm expecting it to be really difficult based on the fact that September seating, in quotes, is usually everyone says that's not the case, but yeah, it's usually different. Let's use that word just in case. And so I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, is this it? Because I had prepared for the worst possible calculation that they could throw at us. I was like, okay guys, come at me and everything. So yeah, the question starts, I start writing, I go number 1, number 2, number 3. I'm like, are you serious guys? So I'm like writing and thinking there's definitely more to it, there is more to it. Then I keep going, number 10, number 12, number 20. I'm like, okay guys, are you guys really sure this is it? So in that moment of thinking, your time is going, because I'm spending so much time making sure that that's all you're asking. So what's the conversion of this into this? One question was like, just plug in the numbers into the formula and that's it. But that's not the case. For September 2016, it was like lots of chunky questions and you had to do all this acrobatics. But anyways, so it was straightforward. The calculations I finished, I'm like, okay God, we got this. Yeah. And so we take the break. I have a shoulder injury which got worse pre-reg and whatnot, but it's getting better. So I had to take painkillers before the exam, and I take painkillers and I take it with little or no food, and so I can feel my heart rate and whatnot. Some things were happening to me, so I was writing really slow, and I was like, okay God, please help me. I say silent prayer in the exam hall, and because I was really slowing down in my second paper, I saw that time was actually going and I was really writing slow. So I say this prayer, I'm like, okay God, please help me, and he does help me, and I feel my strength coming back. Really not a good idea not to eat and take like 2 crisp, take your ibuprofen 400 milligrams with little water, and because I was really anxious sort of during the exams, and I was like, okay Aamer, calm down, this is fine, you can do it. So I kept going. Before the exams actually, there's this lady I met during the exams after the first paper, the calculations paper, the morning paper. We chat about how it went. We're like, okay, that went great and everything. Then I tell her that I feel that the second paper will have twists and turns, because we know how they do sometimes, you know. But that's my assumption of how it usually happens. Well, it did happen that way. She says, okay, can you stop doing that? Can you not say that, please? Please don't say that. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine, I won't say it. But that's what happens. The second paper, twists and turns. The thing is that it appeared that it had 2 appropriate answers for some questions. Some were like straightforward, like what do you avoid in celiac disease? We know that. But others were like, okay, you had to read the questions gently so that you don't get confused. There are a few questions I remember taking the answer and going back to it and saying, oh my God, that's not what you're asking, this is different and whatnot. I remember a few questions, and hopefully I don't know if I can share it here, but anyway, so that happens, the exam finishes, I'm like, okay, I think I did okay and whatnot. I was like, okay, let's see. Then I go out of the hall, tried not to talk about it. You know what I say, do not talk about the questions after you finish and whatnot. But my anxiety was like, sister girl, Are you sure you want to be silent? So I was really anxious. I joined this guy in his car who is really sure of his answers, and it didn't really match with mine. And so I'm like, oh my god, are you serious? We talk about insulin, we talk about contraceptives and the questions that came out on those topics, and I'm like, oh my god, I hope I did the right thing. And he gets really scared, and I'm thinking, I'm panicking. I don't show it, obviously. I'm still like trying to be strong. I'd rush home. I'm like, I spoke to my uncle as a doctor and asked him some question about hypoglycemia that came up in the exams, and he's like, oh no, you're right. I'm like, okay, I'm right. That's just one question. But that really set me off. So later that day, the same day of the exams, when I needed to be resting, guys, after the whole stress, I couldn't rest. I speak to my friend and we start talking about the exam, asking questions. What did you write in this? What did you write in that? Oh my god, did you do this? Oh my god. Then we end up saying questions that didn't even come up in the exam. So you see, we're creating scenarios that never even showed up. So we finished talking, and no, it did not help. It doesn't help. It never helps. That you talk about the questions after. There's nothing that can be done. But I understand. Anxiety makes you feel like, okay, you just have to talk about it so that you can get better, but it doesn't. It just gives you anxiety, more strength to really like pull you down, make you overthink. So through the first week after the exam, the first week after the exams, I am having dreams constantly, seeing questions that didn't show up on moblencamide and some really strange medicines. I'm like, oh my god, what's happening? And I wake up, I think on the 3rd of October or the 4th, bring out my notes. Yes, guys, I write down 110 questions. I write down 110 questions out of the 120 questions that came up in my notes. Did it help? No, it didn't, because I was still like, oh my god. So trying to figure out what, maybe the questions I did wrong, how many I think I would fail, trying to really be scientific and really meticulous, and then really try. But yeah, I was just doing all sorts of things. I think there should be a thing like post-exam syndrome, because that was really, yeah, trying times. So that happened, exams over, waiting for the results, being anxious, speaking to my friends, praying to God, praising God, but just going in and out of being anxious, doubting, trusting. So we're playing this ping pong of doubting, trusting, but I thank God that he was like, that's fine, just go ahead, I've done it. But obviously your heart is like, God, have you done it? But yeah. So the 25th of October, results day, or the night before results, I can't sleep. I'm thinking of the exams, I'm thinking of the everything. I have my prayer, fasting, and just saying, okay, God, that opened this door would definitely not pull the rug out of my feet the very final time, because I understand and I know I worked hard. I did physical and spiritual work for these exams. So I was just trying to build my faith and my trust up for the final time, the night before the exams. And so I can't sleep leading up to the exams. I'm waking up at 3, tossing and turning and whatnot. And so finally, it's about 1:28 a.m. or 1:32, 2 a.m. I finally get some sleep. By 4 to 4, I'm up. I can't sleep any longer. Exams are usually out by 7 a.m. I already know from the previous sitting, because for June exams around that time I see it, because I was like expecting to pass, and it was like, no, so I call my mom and my dad and I'm crying and whatnot. That's for June. So this one I know like 7 a.m. and whatnot. So I'm making little videos. Hopefully I get to share those videos. I've made lots of little videos while preparing, during the whole process, after my breakdown, just every little detail I can get. Hopefully I share in between the videos as well. And so, is it the morning of the exam? I'm just sitting 6 to 7, then 7 a.m. I get a notification on my phone. I'm like, oh my god, my heart is beating. I can literally hear my heart beat, my pulse. I felt my heart was about to drop and everything. I was like, okay, I thought, okay, maybe it's check when it's like days later I'll have somebody check for you, but that doesn't work. I decide to check myself, and I'm like, pause. I think I shot, like, I'm just like, I freeze for a moment. I see my scores. Then I go to my childhood friend's room. Like, oh my god, wake up. My results are out. I passed. Then I burst out crying. I'm like excited. The feeling is amazing. I thank God. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. The process wasn't it and everything, but the final results, the process is amazing to go through that. And finally getting a result that beats your imagination. I get about 80% in both papers. I'm like, thank you, God. My auntie, I tell everybody, I'm crying. I call my family back home. Everybody is like, what? That's amazing. My dad, my mom, I have recordings. Hopefully I share a few of the recordings of the reaction. And I'll share my reaction as well somewhere around this video. Oh my God. I mean, oh no. God. Oh my God. This is quiet. I passed my exam. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Oh. And it's just wonderful. So after failing 2 times, I passed my exams at my final sitting. And actually, I had received a letter, a message, or an email from the Gphc sometime this year telling me that not only is it my final attempt, that it's my final year of ever trying. So my deadline for applying and meeting the criteria was 31st of October 2019 that just passed. And so that's double the pressure. Final attempt and deadline to register as a pharmacist in the UK. And so I'm really grateful. So guys, Lord willing, by the 1st of December, I should be a registered pharmacist with my name up in there in the UK. I'm so grateful. I hope it encourages somebody. I have this written out ready on my blog. I decided to do a video for those who prefer having a chat and just listening to the sort of encouragement. I would have more videos on details on my preparation process, everything I did. I have a wall of how I was writing stuff down, reminding myself. I have a list of calculation errors I'm happy to share. If you'd like to hear any more details or stuff about the whole process, or you have specific questions, please leave your questions down below. If you're in your final attempt like me, like I was, it is possible to pass and pass very well. Very well. I know people usually fail with like maybe 1 or 2 marks. That was not my case. I failed with loads of math. I'm glad actually, because if that had happened, it would have hurt so much. I came to understand the process for my 2 attempts and what went wrong and what other people might see different when you're attempting their final attempt, and I'm happy to share. So for those taking first attempt, what to do to avoid taking it for the second time. For those second timers, what to do to avoid taking it for the third attempt. I didn't go into details, but I will be sharing. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope it's encouraging. I hope you took a few pointers out of it. But see you in my next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. And thank you so much for watching, guys.